It's Friday Coffee with your mortgage man here, baby, and today we're going to talk about condos, condominiums. Seen a lot of them pop up in the pipeline lately, and I think that has to deal more so of the price point, right? If you're familiar with Phoenix, you know that we have a strong, aggressive market. It's on fire, it's crazy, all the above, right? There's no letting up. And just briefly touch on that, there's just no inventory. There's no place to build. We're kind of landlocked by mountains and Native American Indian reservation land. So that gives us limited opportunities to build more new homes. And people keep moving here from California and the Midwest. So people just keep coming here. So there is a lack of inventory. There's a demand, a huge demand, and a low supply. So when that happens, that drives prices up. When that happens, we start seeing the interest for the lowest price point homes on the market, which then are condominiums. Even though condominiums will have pretty extravagant HOA fees, $180, $225, $272 a month, right? And when you start doing the mathematics, you're like, well, there isn't much of a difference of buying a $220,000 condo with a $280 a month HOA payment versus just buying a $320,000 home. But that's a topic for another day. There we go. So let's dive into condominiums and the interesting, intriguing, sometimes irritating things that go on with condos that most people, I would say 99% of the people, even in the industry, the real estate industry, the realtors, people looking to buy homes, listing agents, listing the condominiums on the market, just are completely unaware of. And it creates levels of difficulty, complexity. And here we go. So with a condo, and I'm not talking about a patio home, I'm not talking about a townhome. So let's distinguish those differences right away as well. So sometimes we see townhomes listed as a condominium, sometimes we see a condominium listed as a townhome. First off, they don't even know what they're truly listing, the true definition of the home. And it's not always the legal description. We've seen that even messed up. The legal descriptions references the word condominium. Okay, that's an indicator, but that's not always correct. Sometimes you've got to go in and do some cross-referencing in the Maricopa County Recorder's Office and pull up deeds of trust. And you pull up a deed of trust, you have to go in and find other properties that are closed in that community, right? Unit 104, Unit 229, right? You follow me. Go in, look for the deeds of trust that have recently closed in the last couple years, and on those deeds of trust, it's either going to say one of two things. Condo rider, R-I-D-E-R, or PUD rider, stands for Planned Unit Development. Planned Unit Development, a PUD, it's a townhome. Okay? Townhome, patio home, you're good. That's viewed the same as a single family residence. Boom, we move on. There's no issues, there's no headaches. We move fluidly through the pipeline with none of this extraneous material that is going to be needed. If it does not say PUD rider and it says condo rider, pause, you've got a condominium, a true condominium. Now, what happens from there? So the lender has to order Condo DOCS, Condo Questionnaire form, Condo certification. They all are synonymous with one another, okay? Now, break it down. Condominiums. You are either going to have, if you're going to finance the condominium, you're either going to have a full review or a limited review or streamline review. Limited, streamline are meaning the same thing, okay? Full review is when you're buying it as a primary residence and you're not putting at least 10% down. 5% down, 3% down, you need a full review. You're putting more than 10% down on a primary residence, 10% or greater, you need a limited review. Vacation homes and investment properties require a minimum of 25% down to get out of the full review and go limited review. Now, what are the differences? Well, first off, you still need a condo questionnaire form for either. Okay? Condo questionnaire form, Condo DOCS, Condo Cert is going to cost the consumer anywhere from $125 to $400. And every management company, HOA's management company is different. Their charges are different. So we don't know. It's a guessing game at the beginning of the transaction when we're communicating this with you. So when we're ordering the Condo DOCS from the management company, there's a turn time for that. Some of them are instantaneous. You get on there, you pull it, you have your information right away. Sometimes you gotta order it. 3 days, 5 days, business days, and that's a rush. So think about it, there's a week just to get the Condo DOCS back, just to be able to have them and review them. Now, when you get them back, are they going to full review? Or are they going to limited Streamline review? Full review, you need multitudes of Condo DOCS. You not only need the condo questionnaire form, but you need the budget, the financials that show the reserves. You need a number of other docs. So that gets more expensive. The more documents you order from the management company HOA, the more expensive it becomes, okay? Naturally. So you need all of that documentation. Budget, reserves, condo questionnaire form. Now we got to send that off to a third party that is going to review that full review. We're experiencing turn times of that. Now, that's not our underwriters, right? We got to send that somewhere else to do these full reviews for Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. They're taking about 11 working days, business days, to do the first review. There's another 2 weeks. And they're always going to come back and say, you need something. You forgot to do something. Something is missing, okay? So when you go back in for a resub, it's usually another week. At this point, they've gone quicker before, but we're in the middle of a refinance boom. Mind you, we're in the middle of a refinance boom, so volumes are extended and turn times are extended, okay? So now, imagine this. The people that are filling out these reviews, these condo certs, the Condo DOCS, they're just regular employees that work for the management company, and they're not always putting accurate information on there, okay? And what are they looking for, okay? What is it that the underwriters are looking for when they're reviewing these things? A number of things. But I'm going to give you a couple of the bullet points, the things that usually go sideways, such as deficiency rating. Deficiency rating is 15%. So in other words, no more than 15% of the unit owners can be late, deficient on their HOA dues or assessment dues. 10% vacancy rating. Can't be more than 10% of the units that are vacant. There's also litigation. Is there litigation currently pending against the management company, the homeowners association? That presents a huge issue as well. Can stop the whole part. Does more than one owner own more than 10% of the units? Do they have a minimum of 10% in reserves from their operating budget? So there's a number of things that can create that to go sideways if the HOA is being mismanaged financially. So sometimes we'll see the person that filled it out incorrectly, dealing with one right now on a deficiency rating. We're 2 units over, we're like 17% on the deficiencies, okay? That's Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, non-compliance, decline. You're not gonna get a conventional loan in there, okay? So we go back and we communicate with the management company. They're like, oh, no, there's only 19 in here that are deficient. Well, who filled it out the first time, right? Well, what's going on here? So we get the information. Now we're reloading it back up for another review. Mind you, it's another week in re-review to get this thing fixed. Now, In a limited review, you only need the questionnaire, and the limited review can be done simultaneously with the regular underwriting, so it goes more fluidly. You don't have to tack on these extra weeks. You don't have to tack on the extra scrutiny. They're not going to be reviewing the budget and the reserves, the financials. They're only going to be reviewing the questionnaire form. So there's less for them to review, less chances to get hung up with the condo issues, okay? So keep this in mind. We call it the crazy cycle, the crazy circle when it comes to condos. Why do they do this with condominiums? Because they know that the more deficiencies you have, the more assessments get placed on the other unit owners, so then the more deficiencies you have. It's like, if you're going to make me pay $175 a month HOA fee, and then now I've got to pay an $85 a month assessment fee on top of it because financials are not in order, because everybody's been deficient, right? So now I've got a worse time, or a greater time, more difficult time on making my payments because you just increased my payments. So now I can't make it. So there's another person that's deficient. So now they got to place another assessment on everybody else. So it's the crazy circle. The more deficiencies that happen, the more deficiencies that are going to happen, if you follow me there. That is why, if you remember or know anything about the bust, the recession back in 05, the housing recession that happened from the 05 subprime days, right, the 08 recession, condominiums took the biggest hit. They went down, and they went down quick because that crazy cycle happens quite quickly. I can't afford it. Well, I'm going to foreclose on my home. Another person forecloses. Now you have a vacancy rating issue internally in the complex. Now you are not compliant, and you can't even sell these homes, these condominiums, and get a Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, because they're what they call non-warrantable. That's the terminology. You're out of compliance. So it becomes this crazy cycle, and it just spirals out of control quickly with condominiums. That's the risk, okay? Now, the biggest risk is when you're buying it, and I don't think buyers know this, they're not being educated on this, that there's a chance that it goes sideways. So you've got to pay for $500 for an appraisal up front, right? Now you've also got to pay for your condo docs up front, a couple extra $100. Let's call it $350. So now you're $850 to $900 in upfront related cost on the condominium. And we have to wait a couple weeks, 2, 3, 4 weeks, if it's a full review, to get this information back that, hey, I'm sorry, but your condominium is non-compliant. It's not going to work. It's out of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac's, parameters, policies. You've just wasted that time. You wasted that money. Now, here's some of the rebuttals that I'll get from the other side. Yeah, but it doesn't make any sense, Eric. They just closed on 3 units last month. Well, last month, the deficiency ratings were not out of compliance, but they are this month. They could, right? It's fluid. Just because you made your payment last month doesn't mean you can make your payment this month, especially in the middle of COVID pandemic and you lost your job, right, or whatever. So you have to keep that in mind. It's fluid. Just because loans closed last month or 3 months ago, or because somebody bought one in cash, right, or this, catch this, get this one. Well, 2 closed last month in there. Well, yeah. They may have been a limited review, right? If you follow me, they may have been a limited review. They didn't have to supply all that documentation. The buyer on this unit is only putting 5% down. It's a full review. We've got to review all this extra documentation. Boom! HOA gets clipped. They're not managing their budget correctly. And now the loan goes sideways. You can't do the loan. And everybody's upset at that point. But I think that the thing to get from this is condos, it's a gamble. You don't know up front 100% that the property is going to be eligible. Now you can look at it and be like, yeah, 99%, 98, 95%, we shouldn't have an issue here, right? And that goes probably for the majority, but there are some that have issues. Then there are the others that just have such poor management that they're filling out the documentation incorrectly, creating headaches, which creates extensions to the closing of escrow. Anyhow, there is an in-depth dive into the weeds of condominiums. Holy moly. It's Friday Coffee, your mortgage man Eric. See ya.